Did you know that the alarming rise in peripheral neuropathy cases can be caused not only by medical conditions like diabetes, hereditary disorders, autoimmune diseases, and treatments like chemotherapy or many different types of medications, but it can also be caused by a host of environmental factors like the barrage of chemicals we're exposed to in our foods, beverages, and water supply, not to mention common household chemicals and so many others. But here's the good news. There's a way to protect your nerves and prevent further damage. So today I'll introduce you to Acetyl L Carnitine, a fundamental amino acid that can be one of your keys to recovery. Are you ready to take control of your neuropathy? Coming up. Gang, Dr. Valerie Montero here. If you're finally ready to conquer your peripheral neuropathy, reclaim your life, and start living again, then subscribe to our channel and don't forget to click on the bell so you're notified as soon as we publish new content. Are you as eager as I am to dive in? Let's do this. Let's talk about exactly what acetyl L carnitine is. Acetyl L carnitine, which also goes by the acronym ALCAR or ALC, is an amino acid that fuels energy production in your cells and supports nerve function. It supplies the acetyl group, which allows your mitochondria to break down and use fatty acids for energy. It also assists in producing acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that carries messages from your brain to your body through your nerve cells. Now, research on acetyl L carnitine, or ALCAR, isn't new. It began several decades ago, back in the 1960s. Initial studies focused on its role in energy metabolism and its benefits for heart disease. Since the findings were favorable and really impressed the scientific community, then the exploration expanded to look at its effects on mitochondrial dysfunction and its role in neuroprotection, cognitive function, mood, and exercise performance. So let's examine the many benefits of acetyl L carnitine uncovered by clinical studies. The first benefit I'll cover is neuroprotection. This means that ALCAR can protect your nerve cells from damage caused by the assault from chemicals entering the body or already in the body. Let me explain how huge this is for peripheral neuropathy sufferers. Let's start by looking at glucose. Chronically elevated levels of glucose in prediabetes or diabetes can cause major nerve damage, organ and blood vessel damage, and so much more. What's incredible is that research has shown that this amino acid can protect your nerves from ongoing injury from elevated glucose and many other chemicals entering the body. In fact, a review of 6 clinical trials demonstrated ALCAR's ability to shield the nerves against toxic glucose levels and reduce nerve pain in people with diabetes. Another benefit of ALCAR is that it protects your nerves from ongoing oxidative stress by neutralizing harmful free radicals. This is important because nerves are particularly sensitive to oxidative stress, which can lead to significant damage. Oxidative damage of the nerves can arise from medical conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, also known as hardening of the arteries, or inflammatory disorders like celiac disease or inflammatory bowel disease. It can also occur because of infections like H. pylori. Other common causes of oxidative stress in the body are obesity, poor diet, medications, alcohol consumption, smoking or vaping, exposure to pesticides, environmental chemicals, household chemicals, or even chemicals found in processed food and beverages. And you can get oxidative stress even from air pollution, which can be a very large factor. Guys, I want you to realize this is just an abbreviated list. There are many other things in addition to the ones that I just mentioned. So, how does oxidative damage affect your nerves? It can cause sensory nerve damage resulting in symptoms like pain, numbness, tingling in the legs and arms, or even motor symptoms like muscle weakness, cramping, or dull achy pain. Do you know that besides peripheral neuropathy, oxidative stress is also implicated in several neurodegenerative conditions like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, ALS, MS, and cognitive decline. Now, I did mention air pollution, so I want to take a brief minute to talk about this. In the U.S., the top 10 states with the highest rate of pollution and the worst air quality are California, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, Illinois, and Colorado. Wait a minute. Is anyone else as shocked by Colorado being on this list? Leave me a comment if you're as surprised as I was. I'd like to know if this floored anyone else. Okay, let's get back to the list. Also on this list are Oklahoma, Iowa, Wyoming, and Washington, D.C., which technically isn't a state, but it made it on the list. Now, I don't want to leave our international friends out of the fun either. So the top 3 countries containing the worst air pollution are India, China, and Pakistan. These stats were reported by the Air Quality Index in March 2023. Well, you might be wondering, why the heck am I even talking about air pollution? Well, a relatively new study published in 2020 by environmental health scientists found a definitive link between air pollution and neurodegenerative diseases in the U.S. This study is the first nationwide analysis of its kind. Researchers evaluated 17 years worth of hospital admissions data in the U.S. and found that cities with significant air pollution had an increased incidence for Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and other related dementias. Now, even though the study found a correlation between these 2 diseases, exposure to high levels of air pollution will increase the amount of oxidative stress on the body, which will have a direct impact on the health of your peripheral nerves. If you're unsure of the air quality index in your city or state, make sure you look this up. I've listed a link for you from the American Lung Association that will allow you to see the amount of pollutants in your air and how your city scores. Now, if you're living in an area where the pollution levels are high, here are a couple of ways to provide cleaner air in your home, which will really help you on out. First, make sure you change your home air filter every month like clockwork. This really does make a difference in the quality of the indoor air you're breathing. Secondly, invest in a quality air purifier for your home. There are so many brands on the market. Ones that I've used in the past and found to be extremely effective are IQ Air, EcoQuest, and Blue Air. I do have to tell you that IQ Air is probably one of the best because it's a medical grade, but it does come with a hefty price tag. Make sure you shop around and do your research to get a good quality purifier that's effective and fits your budget. Based on the scientific evidence that has revealed the protective effects of acetyl L Carnitine on the nervous system, anyone living in cities with poor air quality should most certainly take this amino acid to protect the neurons in your brain and your peripheral nerves. There are a few more neuroprotective benefits that ALCAR offers. Studies have found that taking this amino acid can also protect the nerves against excitotoxicity. Excitotoxicity is damage caused by excessive and abnormal stimulation of nerve cells, which can ultimately result in their death. Okay, here's an important side note, guys. If you watched our video, Toxic Attack on Nerves, or 5 Nerve Destroyers, you might be familiar with these common excitotoxins, MSG and aspartame. And we're regularly exposed to these toxins on an ongoing basis. Well, these toxins can wreak havoc with your peripheral nerves and your brain neurons. If you haven't seen these videos, I'll leave a link for you down below because they're absolutely eye-opening. Now, this may take you by surprise. A few other excitotoxins your nerves need protection from are also alcohol and casein. Casein is a protein found in milk. Cow's milk contains about 80% casein. So the more dairy products you consume made from cow's milk, like cheeses, the higher your casein exposure and potential damage to peripheral nerves. Next, let's look at inflammation's role in nerve health. Chronic inflammation can contribute to both nerve damage and neurodegenerative diseases. ALCAR has been shown to possess anti-inflammatory properties, potentially reducing inflammation and protecting nerves from these damaging effects. And the last thing I want to mention under the topic of neuroprotection is mitochondrial dysfunction. Every day we're learning more and more about mitochondrial dysfunction. Really, I mean, this topic is amazing, how much information we're getting on it. And I'm not going to go into great detail in this video because we did a deep dive into mitochondria in our video, The Miracle Molecule. But here's what you need to know. Dysfunction of mitochondria can lead to energy deficits and cellular damage of the nerves, and really any cell in your body. Many studies have revealed that ALCAR protects nerves from mitochondrial damage and dysfunction. Now, just based on its neuroprotective effect for nerves, it makes ALCAR very impressive. But this little amino acid continues to amaze us in the scientific world. The next benefit of acetyl L Carnitine I'll review is its analgesic effect on nerves. Over the last decade, the clinical interest in ALCAR has continued to grow, not just for the treatment of peripheral nerves, but also for pain prevention. Several clinical studies evaluated the analgesic effect of L-acetylcarnitine against different types of painful neuropathies and showed positive results for pain management with neuropathy symptoms caused by conditions like diabetes, HIV-related neuropathies, chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, drug-induced neuropathy, and many more. These studies demonstrated that this amino acid can prevent painful neuropathic symptoms from developing, and it can also decrease symptoms once they've occurred. In two meta-analyses with more than 2,000 neuropathy patients, acetyl L Carnitine significantly reduced pain and improved nerve health. Here's another astonishing benefit. This amino acid has been shown to regenerate peripheral nerves. In fact, clinical studies have shown that it can aid in myelin repair, and it also increases the number of regenerating nerve fibers while improving the quality of the nerve fiber. What this means is it actually makes a healthier nerve fiber. And for people suffering from autonomic neuropathy, where organ systems have been affected, studies have shown that this regeneration will target organ reinnervation, restoring nerve function to the organ and improving its function. Studies did find that it would take about 6 months to facilitate nerve regeneration, which comes as no big surprise because we know that nerves are very slow to heal. So it would really only stand to reason that it would equally be slow to regenerate. However, once regenerated, research has shown that treatment with acetyl L Carnitine supports healthy sensory function of the nerves, which may improve vibration perception, numbness, and acute sensitivity to touch or pressure. It can also improve motor functions of the peripheral nerves. So those are some of the direct benefits that peripheral nerves experience from acetyl L Carnitine. But let's also take a look at the indirect benefits as well. Research has shown that it can lower your bad cholesterol or your LDL levels, and more importantly, VLDL and SLDL, which are the dangerous parts of your LDL cholesterol. And the flip side is that it can also raise HDL levels, your good cholesterol levels. A 2018 study examined the effects of ALCAR on depression, and evidence revealed that acetyl L Carnitine administered between 1,000 milligrams to 3,000 milligrams daily for about 7 to 12 weeks was as effective as antidepressant medications in treating depressive symptoms. Here's some exciting news. Over the last decade, there's been an enormous amount of research showing its astounding ability to prevent cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease. It can do this by boosting acetylcholine activity in the brain, which is essential for cognition and memory. Also, it increases brain levels of glutathione, the master antioxidant, which shields the brain neurons against oxidative stress and the formation of amyloid beta plaques. And those amyloid beta plaques really destroy brain cells. Now, a meta-analysis summarized the data from 21 clinical trials with more than 1,200 Alzheimer's disease patients. And what they found was that with long-term treatment for 3 or more months with acetyl L Carnitine at a dose between 1.5 grams to 3 grams, this amino acid was very safe at these levels and significantly improved the patient's mental condition. Some of you may have heard about both L-carnitine and acetyl L Carnitine, and you're probably wondering what the difference between the two is. There's actually quite a bit of confusion over this, so let me give you a simple outline. Both of these molecules have a very close chemical design, with the largest difference being that one has an acetyl group attached to it. Although there is some overlap in their functionality, there are also significant differences. So let's look at those right now. Both amino acids increase energy production in the mitochondria of all cells, and as a result, they can help combat cellular fatigue. However, here's where they differ. ALCAR has a higher bioavailability than L-carnitine, meaning it gets absorbed into cells better. Another difference is acetyl L Carnitine can cross the blood-brain barrier due to its acetyl group. This enables it to fuel and repair the mitochondria of brain cells, which is why it shows tremendous benefit with cognitive impairments and Alzheimer's disease. It can also enhance concentration. So, that's great for a student or anyone who, needs focus and concentration more. In contrast, L-carnitine cannot cross the blood-brain barrier. Also, ALCAR has a greater effect than L-carnitine on both the central and the peripheral nervous system. As a matter of fact, it can shield brain cells and peripheral nerves from oxidative stress and chemical toxicities that damage the neurons. However, I do have to say, L-carnitine is by far more effective for enhancing physical performance, weight loss, and heart health. Next, let's talk about related side effects with acetyl L Carnitine. I have to tell you guys, when we first began our research on ALCAR, which was really about 20 years ago, there were little to no side effects reported in the research. Since we know that science is always evolving, we went back to see if anything new popped up on the radar, and sure enough, there was a big one. We noticed that both carnitine and ALCAR supplements were touted as promoting seizures in people with epilepsy. In fact, warnings were recorded on product monographs. Now, this is a patient informational sheet that's included in the medication packet, and it also pops up in pharmacy databases. Now, I've got to tell you, this was the first time we ever heard of this. So we did a deep dive to get to the bottom of it to accurately report it to you. And here's what we uncovered. This warning is associated with people who have experienced past seizures and patients diagnosed with epilepsy, and also any patient who is taking valproic acid, also known as VPA, which is prescribed for seizures. Now, when we dug deep, here's what was interesting. We could not find one research paper correlating human seizures with the use of either L-carnitine or acetyl L Carnitine. We found tons of websites and blogs that list this, like WebMD and many others, and we did come across a 2016 review that was based on a very small trial group involving mice, but absolutely nothing else. Here is one study that we did come across published in the journal Seizure. This was a systemic review, and what that means is that there's a comprehensive and a critical review of all of the results from many different studies. And this will include the strengths of the studies, the limitations, and the biases of the studies, if there are any. Now, this systemic review was analyzed by 4 paramount doctors from the Department of Neurosurgery, General Surgery, Critical Care, and Undergraduate Medicine at the University of Manitoba, Canada. Here was their assessment. They reported, and I quote, "We failed to identify a single study implicating L-carnitine supplementation leading to seizures in any patient on VPA therapy. This contradicts all quoted but not referenced concerns on the product monograph. There is no literature available to support claims of L-carnitine-induced seizures." Isn't that interesting? So the question is, with no clinical evidence, how did this make it into product monograph? Remember, these are patient informational sheets, and pharmaceutical databases. Things that make you go, right? I don't know. Interestingly enough, we did get quite a few studies which touted the neuroprotective effect and seizure control that both L-carnitine and acetyl L carnitine had on patients suffering with seizures. Now, all of these links will be provided for you in the description box below. Okay, so let's look at actual potential side effects. Most research will say that side effects are very rare, but have been reported in a few cases, and these include insomnia, stomach cramps, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and a fishy body odor. Although these side effects were infrequent, they typically occurred when taking doses of 3,000 milligrams or higher daily. So let me share what we've observed for side effects associated with acetyl L carnitine in our own practice. After treating over 15,000 peripheral neuropathy cases and using ALCAR, less than 1% of our patients might experience insomnia. We had no patients that experienced any of the other purported side effects. However, we do maintain our patients on between 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams daily, and we never approach the 3,000 milligram mark, so that may be the difference. Okay, after watching this video, I'm sure there are a bunch of you who are going to want to rush on out and purchase acetyl L carnitine, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, there's something I want you to understand. I can tell you from our vast experience that when you use just one or two ingredients at a time to battle your peripheral neuropathy, like for instance, say you're solely using ALCAR and alpha lipoic acid, the results for your recovery are not as impressive as when you incorporate all of the critical nutrients for nerve repair. So yes, we highly recommend acetyl L carnitine as part of your nerve defense arsenal. But remember, it should be grouped with R-alpha lipoic acid, benfotiamine, pyridoxal 5-phosphate, methylcobalamin, and L-citrulline to achieve maximum results in your nerve recovery. If you want to know more about how much of each you should take, make sure you watch our video, The Right Dose. So gang, embrace the astonishing power of acetyl L carnitine as it shields your nerves from the chemical assault hurled on you by daily life. The versatility of this amino acid is unlike any other nutrient, with its incredible ability to shield and defend your nerves while repairing the damage and regenerating new healthy nerves. Before we go, I have a special request for you. If you found value in our video today and you're hungry for more knowledge, hit the like button to show your support. Also, subscribe and become part of our tribe. And don't forget to click on the bell to be notified as soon as we release new content. Together, we'll conquer obstacles and unlock the secrets of vital nerve health. From my heart to yours, may you find strength, healing, and the vibrant life you deserve. Until next time, my friends, here's to your incredible journey on the road to great nerve health. Blessings. Hi, Chloe. You doing a sound check? Can we get started? Just acetyl L carnitine, and there's nothing wrong with that. Except I'm stuck. The right dose? Dose? All right, let's go back.